Welcome back to the Frugal Gardener's Garden. I guess that makes me the Frugal Gardener. Well, happy Tuesday, happy spring. Since today is Tuesday, that must mean gardening over 40. This is a follow-up for the spring planting and upgrades that I've been working on for the past almost 2 weeks now. So I want to show you guys, give you a little tour of what's happening, what I'm doing, and why. And we're going to start here. So I hope you guys stick with me wherever you are, whether you're in the US, the UK, Canada. This is something that I hope you can take something away from for your gardening this spring and summer. This is a revamp of what I've used last year that didn't actually go the way I expected it to. And a lot of the things that did not go well for me last year was because of either the deer or the heat. And when I mean heat, that's because I didn't have enough water to keep a lot of these things going. So this year, I'm taking precautions. This is going to be, as it says right here, these are going to be cucumbers. A lot of people use trellises. This is the TP style that I'm going to use. You're probably curious about the straw. I've been using straw. Well, I've used it off and on for probably about 6 years now. And this year I'm back to using it again. We use it for the chickens, but I'm using it to, well, actually 2 reasons. One is to retain moisture. That's the primary reason. I have added nutrients to the soil underneath here. This is pretty much what I've added in no particular amount. I probably used a cupful of the blood meal and enough of the black cow manure to cover this area. And the peat moss is another product that I'm using to hold in the moisture. So that's all mixed in. The straw is on top. And then I'm going to add this something you probably recognize from last fall. I brought this when it was on sale. And I'm going to open this bad boy up pretty soon. And not only am I going to use that here, this is going to add nutrients to the soil also because it's brand new. And I'm going to put this to the top here. It's not quite warm enough yet for me to plant cucumbers, so I'll give it another couple of weeks. And the other changes, additions, I'm using these zip ties a lot more. And this is what's going to hold these in place. When these come up, these vines come up, I'm going to wrap them around. They're probably going to be taller than what I have here. So this will go up here and then probably back down again. And again, this is part of the Gardening Over 40 series. So you don't have to bend as much. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground for this one. But this one is going to be a little different. This looks like a hot mess right now. I labeled this also because this is going to be bush beans. I have a lot going this year, a lot. I left this here as a reminder because this was netting that did not work for me. So this year I'm going to take this because I know this works. The disadvantage of this is that the bees have a hard time penetrating through this. So I'm going to use this for areas where the bees don't have to get in, or I'm going to leave an opening where the bees can get in. This has not had any work done to it at all. You can see this is where I left off at last year. You can see where it stops. I'm going to extend this. I'm using this cage, this frame is double duty because this was the frame to my mini greenhouse from last winter, you may recognize. And it did, it did okay, but we had a really rough winter, so it did not give me the results I was hoping for. But you'll see where that came from and what I used it for. Because, oh, by the way, this is another area. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with this yet. It's probably going to be either carrots or bush beans. But this is going to need some sprucing up. I'm to that point now where I got pretty much everything in place. So now I'm just moving soil around and amending soil. This is a project that I showed you guys in a previous video where I'm waiting for that cardboard to do its thing. I'm not going to go into that today because there's a lot of new things going on over here. This is something brand new, and that's this. This is a work in progress. This is a privacy screen, but I'm not using it for that. This road here was brand new when we moved in. And since then, this gravel has gotten chewed up. And the county said, oh, yeah, we're going to redo it. And they have not, at least not yet. So we had rain, and it's hard to tell that this is a problem for me because when it rains, it holds down the dust. But when this dries out, especially in the summer, when you have trucks zooming through here and four-wheelers, and sometimes when school's in session, the big old school buses come through here, and these plumes of dust come up, and they end up here in my garden. Not good. So this year, another one of my upgrades is, obviously, this is not the way it's supposed to be. I just set this up a little while ago to make this video. This is the height it's probably going to end up being, and I'm going to end up probably getting a second one of these. This is definitely not going to cut it. This is only about 5 feet, this post here. So it's got to go up probably another 3 or 4 feet easily. And I'm going to probably add another one here so that this is protected from the dust. I've also used these greenhouse sheets that will also give it some protection. So that's another one of the big additions that I have added this year. Now, might as well do this while I'm here. This was a small bed that I've been using for the past 2 years. I grew spinach in this, and I believe I'm going to grow spinach in this again. Again, these are all beds that I am currently working on. None of these are ready for planting yet. Planting is not going to be, for most of this, I'm not going to be planting for probably another 2 or 3 weeks. And I'll be finished, hopefully, fingers crossed, long before then, adding soil and adding nutrients so that I can grow spinach. And again, these guys here are not in the proper place, but that screening that I just showed you, that netting, is going to come over here also. This, if you're familiar with my channel, this was my mound, my hugelkultur mound that my frugal son-in-law built for me last year. And I'm kind of surprised because the red Russian kale is coming back. Thought it was done for. But I'm going to take that out. I'm going to let it go for a while longer, a couple of weeks, another month. And then once that's harvested, there it is. Another label for me to remember where I'm putting everything this year. This is going to be lavender. One reason is because I don't get enough sun over here to do a lot of what I wanted to do. Wow, I just noticed there's a ton of red Russian kale on the other side there. I can harvest that. So This is going to be lavender, but now with the amount of kale I'm getting from here, I'm rethinking this. Maybe I should just plant more kale here. So this is going to be determined. We'll come back to this, and that's the fun part about spring. The fun part about having a new garden, you get a chance to make changes, upgrades, improvements. Speaking of which, this is the result of me taking the winter to redesign this whole thing. The last time you saw this about a week ago, it was not nearly this far along. So in addition to this curtain here to block the dust, check this out. I added this water barrel because one of the problems I had last year was having access to water, and I had to walk it all the way across the property in order to get it to where I needed to go. Well, these jugs fit in here nice and neatly. Of course, I'm not going to get enough rainwater to fill this. This is the reason why I put this hose here, to give you a demonstration, because I go through the junk and you'll see right there, there's 2 containers. One of them is 55 gallon. That's the white one. That's the old pickle jar. And the other one is about 40 gallons. So when it rains, comes down, I have a portable pump that's not hooked up. I just ran this line so you can get an idea of what's going to happen. Somewhere in here is going to be the pump. It's going to pump the water into here, and boom, I just fill these, walk in, water. So this is gardening over 40, and this garden is a easy garden setup. I showed you guys earlier about a little bench you can carry around with you. This is going to make it easier for you to work this area. And what I'm planting here, you don't have to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort on, because if you look in the back there, those are onions that I planted last fall. These poles here, I'm having second thoughts. So this is a second change that I might make, because these are going to have pole beans. But here's the problem. Let's see if I can get in here. The problem is I want to grow honeydew melons, and I want to grow sugar babies in here. So I need to configure this so that I can get in here and get around. If I put a bunch of beans up here, it's going to make it more difficult for me to get to the back. So I may just move things around. I'm still going to use the honeydew. I'm still going to use the pole beans. I'm still going to use the sugar babies. I'm just going to arrange it in a way to make it easier to get around. But the point I'm trying to make about this is I'm growing things in here where you don't have to kneel, you don't have to bend, you don't have to come in here every other day or every week to work on this stuff. I mean, onions, you fertilize them a couple times and they're pretty much good. I mean, I'm going to fertilize these now because we're coming out of winter, coming into spring, and I probably won't have to fertilize them again, I don't know, maybe until around harvest time. Honeydew, sugar babies, it's kind of the same thing. You don't have to baby them. You basically make sure they're watered, make sure they're weeded, and make sure they're protected. So you're not going to have to do a lot of stooping and a lot of bending. And that is the reason why you see all these big containers. These are all easily over a foot tall. And this is going to have tomatoes. I forgot to put the label in. These are also going to be tomatoes. And this I did get an early start on. These are Yukon Golds. Again, you'll see the straw that's underneath there. I deliberately left some showing so that you can see the method that I'm using. This has the same method as the other. It also you know, has the uh, ways to keep that water from evaporating faster. It'll still evaporate, but not as fast. The next time you see this garden, all this is going to be gone, because the hard part is out of the way. Moving all these big, heavy containers. They're all in now. Everything is in its place. This is going to be more potatoes. This is probably going to be dinosaur kale. I'm not sure yet. This is up. Well, the dinosaur kale is going to be here. So I'm not sure what I'm going to put here. And I have these two down here. This is probably going to be cucumbers, and I haven't decided about this one yet. So a lot going on. There's a bee already. Huh? That's kind of surprising to see. So these purple flowers, if I let them, I read up on these, they'll die off in a couple of weeks by themselves. There's some cabbage in here that is still harvestable, that should have been harvested a long time ago. But the fact of the matter is, and here's another container that I can use. Not sure exactly what I'm going to use that for, because I still have other areas that we're not even going to go into today. This is just what's happening around here and around now. You see, this is going to have to be dealt with, so this is more stationary and not coming up over here. Again, for those of you who didn't see the other videos, this fence is only 4 feet high. It is not going to keep deer out. It is not intended to keep deer out. This is a temporary fencing. I'm waiting for the frugal nephew and for my son to come up and put up these T-posts. You can see this long one here, the one with the brownish tip on it. This is what I'm going to be using, but they are 7 feet. They're going to replace these. This is probably, I don't know, maybe 5 feet. So these are going to go up 7 feet. By the time they're in the ground, they'll be 6 feet. And then at that point, I will use the netting that I showed you over on the other side. The netting is going to make up the difference between the 4 feet and the 6 feet. And then I'll cover it, and it'll be deer proof. It'll protect my seeds and plants from the birds. And I'll have an area where I can work, where I don't have to do a lot of work, I don't have to do a lot of bending, but I have to make sure that I keep this area open in here as a walkway, and in here also as a walkway. I'm going to pick up some mulch and throw that in here to make it look nice and to make it easier to define one area from the other. This is 5 feet wide and 20 feet long. So it's nice. I'm actually surprised at how much I was able to get in here. So as for now, like I said, this is a work in progress. This is all coming up. My next step is to get everything out of here that does not belong in here. And I'm going to add nutrients to this soil. This is soil that was brought in by the frugal nephew and I. We brought in 2,000 pounds of soil last year. So this is all fairly new. This is all reusable. And so what I'm going to do is add those same nutrients and more. I have wood ash, which I don't use on potatoes. And I'll add the wood ash. I'll add the grinded up eggshells and excuse me, a few other things to the soil that I didn't add up on the up the other level. And then I'll fill it with the new soil, the bags that I showed you a few minutes ago of the fresh new soil. and we'll be ready for planting. That's it. That'll be a wrap. I still have other areas to work on that I will work on once I get this squared away. This will probably be done by the end of the week. As I said earlier, today is Tuesday. So once this is done, I'm just going to wait on Mother Nature and get ready. I'll start preparing the rest of the gardens, the rest of the yard. I have a raised garden up at the top of up there, way back there somewhere. And a couple other smaller gardens. Like I told you guys earlier, this is not going to be tilled. This is the method that I'm using to get this ready. This is going to be easy peasy. This is not going to be a problem at all because I'm going to do those the same way I did this here. And there's the paper that I used. This, I'm not even going to take this up. I'm going to just put the soil right on top of this, and the soil, the rain, the weather will break this down. And this is where I'm going to grow squash. I'm going to grow a lot of squash this year. So that's it, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time out to watch this video, especially if you stayed for the entire video. And I appreciate your comments. Please comment below. And I'm trying to get my numbers up. I am been around, been doing this for a while, and I'm hoping that you guys will share this video and give me a like, and also hit the bell so that you can be notified, because I do at least one video a week, and sometimes I'll throw in a second one. So this way you'll be notified of what's going on. This is a work in progress, like I've said a couple times already. And if you want to see the finished product and you want to see the planting and what I'm growing this year, then just stick with me, because there's a lot going on. By the way, last thing, there is going to be a gate up here. There is going to be some sort of door up here to keep the animals out. So I didn't forget about that. All right, that's it for now. You guys make it a great day. This is the Frugal Gardener. Remember, when you grow your own food, you'll always know where it comes from. Catch you guys in a few days with a new video.